want to bring in now Matthew Whiz Buckley. He's a decorated Navy Top Gun graduate and experienced naval aviator. Thank you so much for taking the time this morning. We know that the FAA, the NTSB, the Department of Transportation, all investigating this morning in tandem. Could be weeks before we know anything, but just from your experience, I'm curious, is there any explanation for this crash that's making sense to you this morning?
I think Peter just nailed it. It's most likely the pilot in command of the Army helicopter. That crew lost visual sight with the aircraft they were supposed to be have in sight. And, the tower, it sounds like, was understaffed a little bit with a single controller working multiple positions and multiple frequencies. But as soon as that controller heard the pilot in command of the Army helo say, hey, traffic in sight, mentally that controller said, check, done. Don't have to worry about that anymore. Let me focus on some other things. And clearly they didn't have the right helicopter in sight. However, I've never been to air traffic control school, but I guarantee you on day one of air traffic control school, they say if you see two targets on your screen going towards each other at co-altitude, you better poke that pilot again, like, hey, Pat 25, confirm you have traffic, left 11, co-altitude. A little bit more of a forceful traffic call probably would have helped.
Yeah, give him the heads up.
He's right. I mean, the point is, what was the military helicopter squawking on his transponder? Was it on the screen showing their exact altitude? They saw their location above the ground, but they didn't know maybe how high they were, because at 100 feet difference, it may not show up on the screen that much.
Yeah. And Matthew, do you like Matthew or do you like Whiz better? Whiz?
If I'm in trouble,
okay.
It's Matthew. If you're my buddy, it's Whiz.
Got it. Okay, I'll call you Whiz. I was talking to a buddy of mine yesterday who's a helicopter pilot, and he was just saying, I can see how this would happen. You get at that altitude, everything starts to blur together. There's so many lights, not even just at the airport, but in D.C. in general. Do you agree with that? You can see how something like this could have happened.
I absolutely agree. And it was a little interesting yesterday when the Secretary of Defense said, hey, this crew was on a night vision goggles mission. And I think he believed, I don't want to misquote him, they were wearing NVGs. I think that might be a knee-jerk statement. I have hundreds of hours flying the F-18 Hornet on goggles. You don't wear goggles around a city like this. It's too much light. It will actually wash out the NVGs and you won't be able to see. NVGs are, worn in low visibility or low light areas. So the NVG thing kind of made the hair on the back of my neck stand up a little bit.
And we know that those were on board. To your point, we don't know that they were wearing them. Is that something we could actually find out in this investigation, if they were actually wearing those at the time of impact?
Well, you see, that's why when yesterday they said, hey, we recovered the body of, I believe it was the crew member, not the pilots, and he said that. Maybe the guy in the back had his goggles on, but don't want to be macabre, but they'll be able to recover the bodies. If the bodies are intact, the helmets are on, and the goggles are down, that would confirm it. But they might have had the goggles up on their helmets. You just kind of flip them down to your eyes, then flip them back up. So I'd be stunned if they were wearing goggles in that environment.
Matthew Whiz Buckley, I got to end it there. Thank you so much. I wish we were talking under different circumstances, but appreciate your time and expertise on a Friday morning.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.